Hey crew, today we're going to be looking at how to make a Trench Crusade warband list for our friend Rick. We're going to be using Black Rail as an example, but you can use this information for any of the factions in Trench Crusade. You'll find all this information on page 14 of the playtest rules. Let's head over there right now. Holy shit, no. Recruiting your warband will typically cost 700 ducats.
Ducats.
What?
Ducats.
Oh, it's ducats, guys. You'll start with this set amount of ducats and subtract from it as you buy models, weapons, armors, etc. It's good practice to look over all your weapon options and model choices before you dive in. Building a warband in Trench Crusade is pretty fun and easy. You don't have too many restrictions unless noted in your faction rules. Certain models will note how many you can or must take. For example, the new Antioch must take a lieutenant. Weapons, armor, and equipment will show a limit and who can take them. And in Rick's case, he has a choice of being forced to either take the Lord of Tumors or a Plague Knight for his army. Each model's profile will also explain what equipment the model is allowed to take. Let's move over to the Trench Crusade's Handy Compendium and Army Builder. I'm not going to claim I know a perfect method to warband building, but I like to add a little over half of the value of ducats worth of models and then kit them out with cool armor or maybe bad armor. I'll make adjustments here and there. I might add a model and make some other model less kitted out, or I'll delete a smaller dude to give someone else a nicer piece of gear. We start the campaign with 10 models, so that's also good to know when building a list. Black Rail is great because we have a lot of cheap chaff that we can add to our army.
Alright, so this is the warband builder. We're going to start ourselves with 700 ducats. And we'll go ahead and add our first warrior, which is going to be our Plague Knight. It doesn't really matter who you add first, but I like to add all my elites. So we're going to do our 2 Corpse Guard. I'm going off kind of what I know Ricky has in his collection to help build the list. We'll do a Herald of Beelzebub. We're going to do 2 Fly Thrall. And then we'll do 2 Grail Thrall. The difference is in their movement. The Grail Thrall will walk, and then the Fly Thrall will move. But I believe the Fly Thrall are susceptible to burning. We'll also do a Hound Thrall. And this will be great for board coverage, I feel like. Now we're just going to upgrade our Plague Knight and our Corpse Guard. We're going to give the Plague Knight Reinforced Armor. And then we'll give him Beelzebub's Axe. And then I believe we just give him an infected rifle, and it's you're allowed to equip yourself with a range and a melee, either 2 one-handed guns or 1 two-handed gun. Same with weapons, either 1 two-handed weapon or 2 one-handed weapon. Yeah, something like that. It's in the rules. Anyways, you can have a gun and a smacky stick. Black Rail have access to special weapons from their faction. They're pretty cool. They go along with their faction ability, which is infected tokens, which work a lot like the blood markers. So I was kind of leaning into that, especially with what our elites can take. I just picked faction specific and elite specific things for most of these models. And it's nice to kit these models out because you can't kit out the Fly or Grail Thralls or the Hounds. They're not allowed to take weapons, especially in this single faction. I believe in the sub faction they can take guns, but we don't want to worry about that right now. The Herald of Beelzebub can take any weapon, but they can't take any armor except for the ones that they list. Right now, at this stage, I'm just double checking. I have a spare ducats to spend, so I just want to make sure I'm using those as efficiently as possible. If you don't get to it, you can spend it again later on in the campaign. It'll just be excess. But right now, I like to get as close to 700 just so I'm not at a loss against somebody else. I like to make sure who can have it at least has a little knife or a little pistol, just so they have something in any scenario in case it comes up. Basically, in this game, it's better to have it than to not have it. Things can be very swingy, but you also should take consideration into dice rolling and what probability that has. As we play more, it'll make more sense when building lists. But yeah, this is what we got so far. I think it'll be fun to play with, but we'll never know till we try.
Also, big shout out to my patrons over at my Patreon. Shout out to MLB Clips fan, Tetris Before Tetanus, Hyper Pop That P Word, the Ventura Admin Girl. Thank you all for your support, and I'll catch you in the next one.